Argentina, the home of tango, mate, soccer, and Maradona. On this trip, we'll explore an incredible country where the tropical jungle of the north meets the cold glaciers of the south. We'll see colorful streets, giant cacti, waterfalls, and much more. Welcome to Argentina! We begin our journey in Buenos Aires, the city of madness. This city has more than 3 million people and it never sleeps. Our first stop is Caminito Street, an unusual place in the La Boca neighborhood. This street attracts tourists with its colorful houses, quirky locals, and art, which can be seen literally at every corner. And it makes you feel like you're wandering around a museum.
I'm Brune Comas, and here we are in La Boca, Buenos Aires, in the middle of Caminito, a very touristic, colorful street. We are going to walk around. Here you can see these are the old houses, colorful, painted in the 50s. So this is a very historical, very cultural place where it inspired many tango songs. So you have to come.
And if you're hungry while walking, you can always stop for lunch and enjoy a live tango show. It's truly a unique experience. Does anyone want to try it? Yes. This is where we put mate, like this, and then pour boiling water over it. Speaking of Argentina, we can't help but mention mate, a hot herbal drink that contains caffeine. It's always drunk in the company of friends or family.
Now we are ending this street and it ends in the river. We are going to show you also the bridge that connects this part of the city to the other.
In the La Boca neighborhood, in addition to the vital city port, there is also a soccer stadium, La Bombonera, where one of the most legendary soccer players started his career. Have you already guessed who I'm talking about? Well, of course, the incomparable Diego Maradona. Buenos Aires is a city that never sleeps, and at any time of the day you can go to a theater or to a musical concert, including tango, born here on the streets of Buenos Aires. If you happen to be here, we recommend you go into a tango show because it's something incredible and genuinely fascinating. A trip to Argentina would not be complete without visiting the majestic Patagonia in the south of the continent. So we flew from Buenos Aires to a little town called El Calafate. It's a place with incredible landscapes, unique flora, and fauna that left us absolutely speechless. As unbelievable as it sounds, 200 million years ago, all of this was at the bottom of the sea. And more than 80 million years ago, the climate here was tropical. But then, a natural cataclysm created the Andes Mountains and changed the environment. Here, you can buy jams made from the berry from which the city of El Calafate got its name. Then we visited a museum of Francisco Pascasio Moreno, the famous botanist after whom the glacier Perito Moreno was named. In this museum, we learn not only about his scientific achievements and archaeological discoveries, but also his negotiating skills, which played an essential role in defining the borders between Argentina and Chile. On our way to Lago Argentino, we saw many animals such as horses, cows, guanacos, condors, and even hawks, who were eating carrion on the road. Once on the lake, we appreciated its tranquility and silence, its icy water, and the flamingos that live there. They were fishing so casually as if the water was warm. Such an amazing sight. From this lake, we took a boat to Perito Moreno Glacier. We will travel for 10 minutes along the river until we reach the front of the southern edge of the glacier. At first, the view of the glacier opens very gradually. Then suddenly, a massive wall of ice in front of you, full of cracks and tunnels. We are now at the observation deck of Perito Moreno Glacier. The height of this glacier is 70 meters. The north side of this glacier is about 2 kilometers, 400 meters long. The water here is immaculate, so you can drink whiskey on the rocks or other drinks with this ice. You're welcome anytime. Unfortunately, this glacier is gradually melting, so you often see big chunks of ice breaking off and falling into the water. We witnessed this phenomenon, but unfortunately, we couldn't film it on time. This is the northern part of the glacier, and there is the southern part. This glacier is about 30 kilometers long and about 5 to 8 kilometers wide. In the winter, you can walk around the glacier and appreciate the incredible scenery. But you must do so with great care, using the right equipment and following the instructions of the local guides. Walk in short strides, keep toes outward, and use the spikes of your crampons to keep balance. I haven't seen so much snow for many winters here, even in Calafate. What you see here is the result of glacier melting and becoming water. Then it freezes or weathers, and what we can see in the wall is strata that were formed as a result of these erosions at different times during the years. But that glacier, on the other hand, has a very different texture, because when it melts, it forms lakes. And then, at low temperatures, they freeze and create an entirely different kind of strata. Tourists here can try the purest glacial water or even drink whiskey with ice from this glacier, giving it a unique flavor. It is an unforgettable experience that we highly recommend to all travelers visiting this place. On the way back, we became hungry. We stopped for lunch at Esteban Echeverria's farm, a friendly man who, along with his cousin Mario, had founded a small museum dedicated to the indigenous people of the Patagonia Tehuelche. While he prepared lamb for us that he raised on his farm, Esteban told us a story of how his grandfather had settled on this land. He's one of 3, and their mom couldn't feed them all, so I'm bottle feeding him myself now. It seems he wants to come out. My grandfather came here in 1901, and in 1925, he built his first house where you can see that little square of concrete. In 1939, the glacier expanded so much with new ice that it reached the mountain and blocked the water flow, so the lake began to rise. It rose as much as 23 meters and reached our fence. In this picture, we can see my father dismantling the house. And here's my grandfather standing in the water where the house had been before. The most interesting thing is that when my grandfather settled here, 100-year-old trees were growing around here. And when the lake rose up, it uprooted all those trees and brought them to the shore, which means that the glacier had never blocked the flow of water before. Since then, that has been happening every 4 years. When the lake reached the spot, we found an ancient shore marked by the Indians as a campsite. It turns out that Indians used to camp here every time the lake retreated because they used the timber that the lake had brought ashore. Now we all use that wood for our needs. It means that global warming is a natural cycle that doesn't depend on modern man. Pollution is terrible, but that's one thing, and global warming is another. Some scientists say that if all the ice on the planet was to melt, the seas would rise by 3 or 4 meters. Well, it's already happened here. I can show you the mark. We preserved all the rocks, knives, and arrowheads that we found here and then created a museum. We also invited a Toelche family who shared some interesting facts about their people. I have found his conclusion that climate change is not a consequence of human activity fascinating. What do you think about it? Tell us about it in the comments. The table is now set. You can sit down. And today you're going to eat lamb. Also, you can try some of my homemade sausage pork and beef salami and lamb ham. There's nothing better than eating good food, watching animals, and listening to stories with a glass of aromatic mulled wine. Our next destination was El Chalten village. But on the way there, we stopped by a house of a very charming man who belonged to the indigenous Mapuche Indian tribe. He has been living here alone for more than 20 years. His name is Ramon Epulev, and he told us a little bit about his life here. I'm part of nature here, so I feel happy. Of course, it's just a desert for some people, but I'm very comfortable here. I'm free here, you know. I sometimes get lonely, but what can I do about it? What's your horse's name? His name is Dunkelen. It's a Mapuche name, because I am a Mapuche myself. Ramon told us that his grandfather and father were chiefs, and that he is the leader of his community now. How are you doing, old man? And you, get out here. He doesn't trust you, you see, since he's only used to me. He's very good-hearted. All my life, I've dealt with horses, and my profession was to ride young horses and teach them different skills. Does your horse like apples? Yes, he eats everything. Hello?
No.
Come on, stand still. Look in the camera. Come on. It's not there. Continuing our trip, we were lucky enough to see a fox at one point. You can't see it on the video, but there was a powerful wind, and look how it flattened its face. El Chalten is a cozy little town, which, unfortunately, we could not appreciate because of the rainy weather. Here is one of the most visited mountains called Monte Fitzroy, or Cerro El Chalten. This mountain is very popular among climbers, as it is challenging because of its steepness and unpredictable weather. El Chalten is the hiking capital of Argentina. In the museum, you will see the flora and fauna of this area, as well as the hiking trails. We were unable to explore this area's scenery because you need good weather to go hiking. But we were able to get into the museum. There is a didactic exhibition dedicated to climbers and the equipment they used to climb the mountain in the 50s. You can also see the routes discovered by different climbers, which can still be climbed by those who want to take on the challenge on this perilous mountain. This is just the first part of our trip through Argentina. I hope you have enjoyed it. If so, please like it and subscribe because in the next part, we will be traveling through northern Argentina and visiting places like Salta, Iguazu Falls, and many other scenic and exciting places. See you soon, travelers of the world!